Okay, so this is my video of how I would do an abdominal exam. I do not actually have a pregnant woman here with me, so I'm going to use this pillow. First thing I would do is wash my hands and with warm water so that they're not cold, and ask the woman if she might need to use the restroom to empty her bladder before we begin. I would ask her to lie on a firm surface, supine position, and then I would just lay my hands flat on her abdomen to begin. I would place my non-dominant hand on the nearest lateral wall of her uterus, so that would be my left hand, and then my dominant hand, which is my right, opposite of her navel. And then I would just move my hands across until they meet. I'd palpate her uterus to try and identify the fetal back. And once I ID'd that, I would then palpate the opposite side to identify the fetal hands and feet. While I'm doing this, I'm using my palm and all of my fingers. The next thing that I would do is trace the back upwards until I'd reach the fundus. I'd cut the fundus at the top with my hands in a C shape. Hopefully you can see this on the video. I'm by myself, so it's a little difficult. And I would blot the contents of the fundus. If this were the head, it would be more independently movable. Next thing I would do is study the uterus opposite of the baby's back. So if this were the back here, let's say this is going to be opposite. And I would trace my hand down along the back until resistance disappears, and retrace the path 1/2 inch up. That would be the anterior shoulder. I would note its distance from the pubic bone and the mother's midline. 4 inches or more above the pubic bone would mean that the head hadn't yet descended. Next thing I would do is place the hands on either side of the lower abdomen, pressing firmly. I'd outline what is in the pelvis by moving the hands around its borders. So I might do a little bit of this motion. I do the same thing I did at the top of the fundus by placing my hands into a C shape and trying to determine what it is that is between my fingers by ballotment. I could then put my other hand at the top, same thing, C shape, and try and identify which side the head is on. The next thing I would do is assess the flexion of the head. So I'd find the cephalic prominence the same side as the back. So let's say if it's over here on this side, I determine the degree of descent into the mother's pelvis. So since the presenting part can be ballotted, I know it's floating. If my fingers couldn't fit between the presenting part and the pelvis, it'd be dipping. And fixed if the plane of the largest presenting part dropped below the mother's pelvic inlet. So that's it. It wasn't that exciting because I just had this pillow, but hopefully that'll do. Thank you.